But we talked about the different kinds of inverses. I talked about the additive inverse. There is the other one called multiplicative inverse. Multiplicative inverse. And when we talk about multiplicative inverse, let's take a number, for instance, 2. If we multiply 2 by 1 over 2, we will have 2 over 2, and the result is going to be 1. If we have 3, I will multiply 3 by 1 over 3. We're going to have 3 over 3, and the result again is going to be 1. If we have 4, I will multiply this 4 by 1 over 4. The result is 4 over 4, because 4 times 1 is 4 over 4, and 4 divided itself will have 1. So what are we trying to say? When you multiply a number by another number and get 1, that number is called the multiplicative inverse of the first number. So what that means is that the multiplicative inverse of 3 is 1 over 3. Multiplicative inverse of 4 is 1 over 4. What will multiply 4 with to get 1? What will multiply 3 with to get 1? Okay, so in a general kind of statement, the multiplicative inverse of a number is 1 all over that particular number. So the multiplicative inverse of 9 is going to be 1 over 9. The multiplicative inverse of 20 is 1 over 20. Multiplicative inverse of 100 is 1 over 100. Multiplicative inverse. Okay, multiplicative inverse of 2 is 1 over 2. And the other way around, this is like left to right and right to left. It means that the multiplicative inverse of 1 over 100 is 100. Multiplicative inverse of 1 over 2 is 2. Multiplicative inverse of 1 over 9 is 9. Multiplicative inverse of 1 over 20 is 20. So it's both ways. This occurs in both ways. If 9 is the multiplicative inverse of 1 over 9, it means that 1 over 9 is the multiplicative inverse of 9. Okay, so do we follow this? Okay, I hope you follow. So what this means is that if we have solved the equation, we have 2x is equal to 9. 2x is equal to 9. Remember, when we solve an equation, we want to leave only x on the left hand side. In this case, we cannot say minus 2 or plus 2, because when we say 2x, this means 2 times x. Okay, so how do we remove 2? We need to divide this by 2. When we divide it, we'll have 1, and then we'll have x. That will be 1x. So the only way for us to remove 2 when we have that the 2 is multiplying the x is by dividing the 2x by 2. And what are we actually doing here? Can you see with me that 2x multiplied by 1 over 2, okay, we're multiplying by 1 over 2, is the same thing as 9 times 1 over 2. Remember, anything we do to the left hand side, we do to the right hand side. Okay, so what does this mean? 1 times 2x is 2x, and then we divide it by 2. 9 times 1, the numerator is 9 divided by 2. So you can see, anytime you have something like this, they will always tell you divide both sides by the coefficient. This is the reason why they always divide both sides by the coefficient. It is the multiplicative inverse of the coefficient. So 2, we divide 2 to give us 1, and we'll have x there, and then we'll have 9 over 2, which you can put as 4.5 if you want. Okay, so when we have a coefficient multiplying, 3y is equal to 18. Okay, when we have a coefficient multiplying a variable, to get the variable alone, we multiply both sides of the equation by the multiplicative inverse of that variable. And this statement I just made now is the same thing as dividing both sides by the coefficient. Okay, so 3 times 1 over 3 is the same thing as 3 over 3. See, multiplication changes to division. Okay, so multiplying 3 by the multiplicative inverse of 3 is the same thing as dividing 3 by 3. Okay, so instead of saying multiply both sides by 1 over 3, we can say divide both sides by 3. Okay, don't worry if it sounds confusing. We're going to ask you, need to practice it, you get used to it. So multiplicative inverse of 3 here is 1 over 3. Multiplying by 1 over 3 is the same thing as saying divide both sides by 3. So we divide both sides by 3. 3y divided by 3 is equal to 18. We divide by 3. So this gives us y. And this gives us 3 divided 18 will give us 6. Y is equal to 6. Okay. So let me take another example. Solve the equation. 7p is equal to 49. Okay, we know that the multiplicative inverse of 7 is 1 over 7. So multiplying 7p by 1 over 7 is the same thing as saying divide 7p by 7. So if we divide both sides by 7, we have 7p divided by 7 is equal to 49 over 7. So this divide this will give you 1p. So anytime you see one letter written, it means one of that letter. So we cannot write something as 1p or 1x or 1y or 1m. Okay, if it is 1, it is p. If it is 1x, it is x. If it is 1y, it is y. If it is 1m, is m. Okay, so we skip writing the 1. So p here, if 7 divides 49, we're going to have 7. So p is equal to 7. Okay, so in other words, or in summary of this, if we have a coefficient multiplying a variable like 4 multiplying x, to get the value of x, we divide both sides by the coefficient 4. If we have 5 multiplying y, to get y, we divide both sides by 5. If we have 10 multiplying letter a, to get only a, we divide both sides by 10. If we have 14 multiplying letter m, and you're asked to solve for letter m, divide both sides by 14. Always divide by the coefficient. The coefficient, I mean, is the number written together with the letter. Divide both sides by that. Okay, so let's proceed. Okay, certain times now in equation you might come across both additive inverse and multiplicative inverse. Okay, so let's see equation like this. So in this question, we're asked to solve 2d minus 6 is equal to 18. So look at this. We have a minus here and we have multiplication here. So which one should be done first? Now, if you have a combination of both times and minus in an equation, you have to take care of the minus or plus. Whether minus and plus, you have to take care of them first before you talk about multiplication to take care of it. Okay, so if we have this question, first of all, we're going to remove minus 6. So that's the first thing we're going to remove. Remember additive inverse. Additive inverse. We have a minus 6. We're going to use additive inverse of 6, which is a plus 6. Additive inverse of minus 6 is plus 6. So we're going to add 6 to both sides. So we have 2d minus 6. We add 6. What we do to the left hand side, we do to the right hand side. Add 6. So minus 6 plus 6, additive inverse will give you 0. So what is left is 2d is equal to 18 plus 6 is 24. 18 plus 6 is 24. Now you can see that this brings us to the other form where we have a coefficient multiplying a letter. So this is where we can now divide both sides by the coefficient. Okay, if we divide both sides, we have 2d, the coefficient is 2, so we divide it by 2, which is actually the multiplicative inverse of 2, that's 1 over 2. So 24 we also divide by 2. What we do to the left hand side, we do to the right hand side. 2 we divide 2, and what we have is 1d, and then 24 divided by 2, we have 12. Okay, so if you have addition or subtraction and multiplication together, make sure you do addition first or subtraction first, whether it's addition or subtraction. So let's look at solve for the value of m. 9m minus 18 is equal to 153. 9m minus 18 is equal to 153. So first of all, take care of the plus or minus. If you have multiplication and addition or subtraction, take care of the plus or minus. In this case, we have minus, so we're going to add 18 to both sides. Why? Because the additive inverse of minus 18 is plus 18. So add 18 to both sides. So 9m minus 18, we add 18, is equal to 153, we add 18. What we did to the left hand side, we do it to the right hand, minus 18. So minus 18 plus 18 is 0, we have 9m. Okay, so 153 minus 18, this is 3, not possible, borrow 1 here, that's 13, we have 5, 4 minus 1 is 3, and then we have 1. So 9m is equal to 135. 135. So what do we do? You can see this is 9m. We will now divide both sides by 9. So 9m divided by 9 is equal to 135 divided by 9. So 9, we divide up 9, we have 1m. 1m, which is same thing as saying letter m. Okay, so here we can divide 13 divided by 9 is 1. I mean that 4, move that 4 to 5, we'll have 45. So 9 times 5 is 45. So m is equal to 15. I think we have done a lot with minus. What if is plus? So let's say we have 2y plus 3 is equal to 7. Okay, because this is a plus 3, we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. So we're handling the addition or subtraction first before multiplication. Okay, so we have a plus 3 here. The additive inverse of plus 3 is minus 3. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. So 2y plus 3, we subtract 3. On the right hand side, we'll also subtract 3. Plus 3 minus 3 is 0. So we have 2y is equal to 7 minus 3 is 4. So now we have 2y is equal to 4. So all we do is to divide both sides by 2, because 2 is the coefficient of y. So 2y, we divide it by 2. What we do to the left hand side, we do to the right hand side, divide by 2. So y is equal to 4 divided by 2 will give us 2. So y is equal to 2. Okay, so when we have addition or subtraction and multiplication in an equation, we will take care of the addition or subtraction, and then we'll not take care of the multiplication. Okay, what if we have a division in an equation? Okay, so division has to be taken care of first. Okay, division will be taken care of first. So anytime you solve a fraction that involves a denominator, take care of the denominator first. So let's take, for instance, we have y over 2, okay, plus 3 is equal to 12. Y over 2 plus 3 is equal to 12. once we see a division, in fact, whether the division is with the variable or not with the variable, take care of the division first. The reason why we take care of the division is because we want to change the equation from being a fractional equation to a straight line equation. Look what's going to happen here. Because we have a 2 here, to take care of this, we're going to multiply through by 2. Multiply through by 2. Remember, when we had 4 times x, we divide both sides by 4. Now, if we have x over 4, we will multiply both sides by 4. In this case, 4 we divide that 4, we still have x. Remember, the idea of all of these things is to leave x alone. Okay, we want x to be alone. So, if what we had initially is 2y, for us to leave y alone, we need to divide both sides by 2. But if we now have y over 2, the only way we can make y to be alone is by multiplying this by 2. We multiply. So if y is divided by a number, we multiply. Okay, remember that the additive inverse of 1 over 2 is 2. The additive inverse of 2 is 1 over 2. So if it is multiplication, divide both sides. If it is division, you multiply. Okay, so let's take a look at this now. Because we have a denominator of 2, we're going to multiply through by 2. Okay, this is going to be different from all the ones we've solved already. So what we're going to do right now is to multiply through by 2. This only happens if there is a fraction. Take note, please. Okay, so everything here we're going to multiply by 2. So the first thing we have here is y over 2 multiplied by 2. The next thing we have here is 3. We will also multiply it by 2. And the next thing we have here is 12. We will also multiply it by 2. 2 came as a fraction. That's why this is what we do. And you will see why we're doing this. If 2 can divide out 2, we're only left with y. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 2 is 6, and then 12 times 2 is 24. 12 times 2 is 24. Can you see that? Now, this is the major reason why we always multiply through by that number at the denominator. Anytime you do it, fraction will disappear, and what you will have will now be a simple form of the equation, which are all the ones that we've been solving. So here, we now have y plus 6 is equal to 24, which you already know how to solve. Here we have a plus 6. The additive inverse of plus 6 is minus 6. Minus 6. So the additive inverse of plus 6 is minus 6. So we're going to subtract 6 from both sides. Y plus 6, we subtract 6. On the right hand side, 24, we subtract 6. Okay. So what do we do next? 6 minus 6 is 0. So y is equal to 24 minus 6 is 18. So now let's take a very more advanced example. Okay, so let's say we have x over 2 minus 2 over 3 is equal to 1. Now, in this case, we have more than one denominator. So what we're going to do here, we're going to multiply through just like we did, but in this case, we're going to use LCM of 2 and 3 to do the multiplication. So if you have more than one denominator, find the LCM of those denominators and then use the LCM to multiply. In this case, we'll have 2 and we have 3. The number that can divide 2 is 2. If 2 is divided by 2, we have 1. 2 cannot divide 3. So we'll write 3 and then we divide by 3, 1. If 3 is divided by 3, we have 1. So LCM of 2 and 3 is 2 times 3. That gives us 6. If you don't understand what I did here, I have a lesson on LCM. Look for it and then get yourself conversant with what I just did. Okay, it's very simple. Okay, so now it means that we're going to multiply through through by 6, because 6 is the LCM of 2 and 3. So just like we did, the first thing here is x over 2. We multiply by 6. The next thing here is minus 2 over 3. We multiply by 6. The next thing here is 1. We also multiply by 6. This is multiplied through. Every term here we're going to multiply by 6. So 2 can divide 6 to give us 3. So 3 times x becomes 3x. 3 can divide 6 to give us 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 6 is 6. So can you see this again? This is the reason I said anytime you have a fraction, the first thing you need to take care of is the fraction. Once you take care of a fraction, what will be left will become an equation that is a straight line equation, which becomes simple for you to solve. Okay, so here we have minus 4. Remember, if you have minus and times, you take care of the minus or plus. So the additive inverse of minus 4 is plus 4, which means we're going to add 4 to both sides. 3x minus 4, we add 4. Anything we do to the left hand side, we do to the right hand side. 6 plus 4 minus 4 plus 4 will give you 0. So we're left with just 3x on the left hand side is equal to 6 plus 4 is 10. Okay, what do we do here? Do you remember? Divide both sides by 3 because 3 is the coefficient of x. So 3x we divide it by 3 is equal to 10 we divide by 3. So x will be now left alone. X will now be left alone. So we have x is equal to, this will now be 3 whole number 1 over 3.